What is going on, everybody? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing. Good morning. Great morning. So glad to be here with you all today as we get to take a look at the markets and feeling a bit better like that. Grateful for that. If you're here watching and you're new, welcome. It is good that you are here. I am glad that you're here. And if you're not, welcome back. It's time for us to do what we do, and that is to conquer the markets. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Taking a look at Bitcoin, $55,500. There's only one thing I can say, and that Bitcoin is cheap. IMO. In my opinion, Bitcoin is cheap. I'm thinking of actually purchasing more Bitcoin over here. 55,000. We all know where we are in the cycle. Yesterday, we talked about how the parabolic move stage is now beginning. We're going to take a deeper look into that. We're going to take a look across all markets today and just make sure that we have our bearings. I'm following here on the 2-hour, and that's just to give you the clarity that this trend line. Let me go ahead and just make that a little bit darker as we get going here this morning so we could focus in on the same things together. We after the pullback, after the dump, after that 2-hour, $1 billion Bitcoin derivatives of longs just totally liquidated, we saw it then price finally give us this bit of a cheat sheet, this line. We've broken out past the line. Not only has the breakout, right? Entries on crypto, on Bitcoin during the bull market phase is the break. You don't wait for the retest and resumption. Every single other market you do, right? If you want to learn how to trade, watch take the course. Watch what I've done on Forex over a year's worth of just absolutely insanely good tutorials on how to trade the markets. You have the breakout, the retest, and then resumed off. And then we're back in and we're testing this important support down over here. You can see that price currently stuck within that range. We're waiting for the confirmation for the somewhere above $58,000. As we get closer, we'll give I'll be looking more, let's say, precisely at it. But right now, we continue to be in this area over here. The first sign of the repair has taken place. It's still holding. When I say that that repair is still holding, let me just go ahead and clean this up a lot so I can see what's going on over here, right? When I say that, hold on one second, all right? There we go. So once this line was broken, that was the first bit of sign of repair. What would mean for that repair to be negated and price to be trading with a very negative bias? You would need to go ahead and lighten up your liquidation level. If you are trading Bitcoin lightly leveraged, what I believe is the best way to trade the Bitcoin bull market by far. All right. So if you step back for a second, looking at the 8-hour, I mean, this looks incredibly bullish to me. Forget that we know exactly where we are in cycle, and that yesterday we said from here on in, from here to the peak of the bull market is actually the parabolic move is beginning. If you look at this chart over here, I mean, buy off support, sell off resistance. Everyone remembers this chart pattern from going back last year on the Nasdaq. I mean, for forever, that it's the same thing. We had the trend lines in there, and that's exactly how we were playing it. It looks entirely bullish, and that's why I say to you right now, Bitcoin looks like a good place to lean in and to be buying for myself today. When I talk about that, I'm not talking about any type of leverage. I'm talking about, just straight up buying Bitcoin right over here. Seems like a really good deal in my opinion. What has to happen for this to break down further? If we lost this trend line over here, the lower one, so far this morning, we held the not the lowest support, but the one under it. We held that line, right? If we break the one below it and we break out of this trend line of this pattern, are we going to see a test of that spike low down around 51,000? Well, I mean, I would gather that's what's going to happen. The only thing that I would have to say is if we're able to take out all of the stops around this area, if price winds up breaking the lower support over here and test that and take it out, it's going to be a capitulation move, and you're going to see wherever Bitcoin bottoms out, right? Right now, your liquidation 45,000. That's super aggressive. If that's your liquidation level, between 40,000 and 38,000, yeah, that's pretty comfortable. I don't think that we're going to see that if we broke this area of this last wick of 51,000. At that point, even if your liquidation is down at 40,000, 30, 38,000, you're now lowering it. Something's not right, even though you expect a very quick liquidation event and for price to shoot back up and then start the parabolic move. You protect yourself here, and on the repair, you start building back into that position is how you do it. What is a final repair here? We had the first sign of a repair taking place, and that was the break of this trend line. The next thing that has to happen is this resistance over here. It's coming in somewhere around $58,000. It will also coincide with the break of this trend line over here. Get above this area, and now all of a sudden we're looking at testing the all-time high and back into price discovery on Bitcoin. Ethereum looking a little bit healthier for sure. Ethereum is trading up on the day. Bitcoin is trading down. There's your first sign. Before we move over to Ethereum, just of note, Bitcoin has yet to make a higher high on the daily time frame. Now, we did put in yesterday an up price bar, but Bitcoin on the daily has not made a higher high ever since the peak. And you can see it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days in a row of down price bars, still yet to make the higher high on the daily time frame. Obviously, I don't want to say it's so bullish it's ridiculous. Yeah, it's so bullish it's ridiculous, but at the same time, still sprung back. The lower support over here is clear as day, and it just seems like a really good day to be buying Bitcoin, in my opinion. All right, Ethereum looking very good. You can see Ethereum has yesterday made a higher high, and again today is making a higher high. Ethereum looking really good over here. Ethereum versus Bitcoin is absolutely crushing it on its way towards some resistance, but there's not much to add over here. It just looks really good. This was when it was last into play. This is actually a lesson to look at over here, or something that you should be focused in on. I'm not going to go over, when we were watching Ethereum, it was a beautiful conquering the markets, breakout, retest, resumption, right? But if you were in this trade, and I don't think that, personally, knowing where you are in cycle and how much risk to the upside there exists, if you're taking profit on this, big move over here, I personally didn't expect all that hash rate to come offline and in 2 hours for this massive move to the downside. As it was happening, obviously protected myself, was able to do that. But if you're into this trade, that's what is that, by the way? What type of gain is that? Is that 30% in a day or two? 37%? If you're taking profit there, I think you're over trading. At the same time, if you're not taking profit there, were you able to hold on to this trade, which never came back to entry? Yeah, I guess what I'm getting at over here is make sure that you are not over trading. Make sure that you're getting behind of some powerful moves and trends when you have the technical break and giving them the opportunity to move. Silver's a great example of that right now. Are you taking profits into the 26, 30 resistance on silver? Or are you taking profits into the yearly high above $30, right? Or are you taking profits if silver makes the all-time high at $50, right? Or do you think that if we test up towards 50, yeah, there'll be some volatility around there at that time, but do you think that it's going significantly higher if it's able to break out above there? I guess time preference, time frame is really important. All right, let's move over to the DXY. Let me take a look at the equity markets with you really quick. By the way, if you are here enjoying this session, automatically you have to go ahead and smash that like button. If you are new here, you have to out of love, smash the like button. And if you are watching on the replay, smash the like button, help get these likes up, and let's see if we get going over here. Thank you so much for all of your thoughts and prayers this past week and a half. Feeling better today, and just, grateful for that. We're looking at the S&P trading above our target, 4,100, but that's not just our target anymore. If you remember, it was back in, let's call it June. It could have been May. It was in May, end of April into May of 2020, where we threw out the 4,100 price level on the S&Ps. Now most investment banks have around the same level. Of course, they put it out over here in 2021. right? In January, they put out a 4,100 level. And now they've reached their goals because, what are they looking for? 8, 9% on the S&P yearly. You're like, oh, well, it's up 9%. We've already reached our target, right? Or there's going to be, who's buying equity markets right now? Is the stock market attractive? Or, has most people's targets been reached already for the year and they're just kind of sitting back? Let's take a look at the equity markets and let's go over to Sven. Sven at Northman Trader. This, like, Sven is the perma bear, right? He's always saying this, the market's going to crash. This doesn't make sense. It's no good. So at the time when the market's going to crash, at those few times when the market's actually crashing, and I could go back to late February, early March of 2020 when the markets were crashing. And around that point, someone like Sven, he'll give you really good analysis, but he's doing it obviously the whole time, and he's done it the whole way up of why everything is so bearish and why everything doesn't make any sense. But if you find out the narrative at the time it's supposed to be turning, it could be some good useful information. Just FYI, someone that's always calling the top like that, as soon as you start getting the crash, they're already calling the bottom. But anyway, look, he's talking about the VIX is rising, is right now, is risk-free. The markets seem like they've become risk-free. Everyone invested in the equity markets is kind of doing really well, and they're feeling really good, and they're using a lot of margin. And, as long as everything continues, everything is good. Sven is saying he's seeing the VIX come up, right? But off of really low levels. You could see this bounce into resistance. As like the sky begins falling, someone's out there calling the end of the markets and the turn. You have to understand what these people are saying each and every time the VIX has an up move that has been faded. So is this the beginning of the end over here? There's an article he puts out about peak liquidity, right? He's talking about how the amount of liquidity pumped into the markets and the economy in the last year dwarfs anything we've seen in history. What's going to happen as the central banks are not tightening, but as we saw, like the Bank of Canada, Bank of New Zealand, putting the brakes on a little bit, but relatively tightening just by taking away all the excess of liquidity, not actually tightening, not raising rates. Are they lessening QE purchases? So the thing about this though is you can't consult someone who a year and a half later, they're like, oh, well, there's so much liquidity out there. Yeah, well, the whole time we've been like, you have to follow the liquidity, and there's massive amount of liquidity over there. So you need to be buying. At this point, though, what's the reward? Why do you want to be invested in equities? At the same time, other people out there, insolvency event, this doesn't make sense. We're going to have, what are the 3 stages? We never, ridiculous stuff that's put out there. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, this is what you got to consult those who have a history of being right. That's all I got to say about the equity markets. And there's nothing going on here right now. I was said in the beginning of the year, they would become attractive if we had a correction. The S&P never really had a correction. This is like a 5-6% move. The Nasdaq did have a deeper correction, right? And as it unfolded, we were able there to watch when it was attractive to take advantage of a swing trade. But right now, do you want to be invested in the equity markets? I think you're doing it wrong. I think it's important to remain aware of what they're doing. They're almost like a barometer of the overall markets, but from afar as we continue to do. Russell's down a little bit over here into some support. Why are the small caps falling? You can see the Dow doing really well. Is it the return to value? I don't know. It doesn't really matter. And, just a little bit of observation over there. What about the dollar? The dollar right now is coming into this trend line of resistance, a break above it, and then get above this trend line. And all of a sudden we're trading sideways. And right now, if you step back from the dollar, we're in a strong downtrend ever since the Fed acted, right? And, it looks like to me like a bear flag. And if we get the breakdown over here at any time, at that point, taking out the yearly low, and then going significantly further is definitely in the cards. But right now, we're in this area where we just continue to trade sideways and consolidating. You could see though, gold and silver have perked up and made their technical breaks over there, something that we've been following. Silver has made the breakout, right? Nice two possibilities for entries onto silver. As it was occurring, we looked at it, and now you're into the resistance. Obviously, it's a question of pushing your winner. Push it. Whether or not price comes back and takes out these entries, stop loss now into the resistance at break even. Well, that's one thing, but you don't ever have the opportunity to be a part of something if you're always taking profit and cutting your winners short, right? Get above this resistance over here at 2630. You know, I noted on Twitter the other day that it appears, no proof, that it appears that the Fed has already started yield control curve, you know, and you know, they're not going to announce it, but you have to watch what's going on in the markets. Price tells everything. Let's take a look at the 10-year. It's been a while, you know. And you know, ever since things were about to get out of hand, all of a sudden there's something going on over there. I'll just put it at that. It's unsubstantiated. I don't have any evidence of it, but pretty sure that's what's going on. You can see the technical breakout on gold as well. You have a breakout and a retest trying to resume off right now, taking out that last swing high. Gold then has that technical breakout we've been looking for. Do you clone this line and put it off this top touch, right? I simply don't know. I'm not going to clone that and put a line up there. I'm going to focus on this resistance here at 816, the horizontal resistance. It's a big level. It's a good level right now, breaking out of the trend line. This is where you're looking for an entry. This is the resistance we get above, and at that point, it looks like gold could be, a lot of people. A lot of traders right now are beginning to focus in over here as you get these technical breaks. Very important. It's a question of what type of money flows into this. Speaking of gold and silver, gold and Bitcoin money flow, right? We've seen this is one of the easiest trades all year. We've seen as Bitcoin continues to consolidate for 2 months, gold, you know, why from the bigger picture? This is gold versus Bitcoin. From the bigger picture, I mean, it clearly like this is down and consolidating over here, but prices come up about 20% off the low over here. Like, let's go boom to boom. Yeah, it's 20% right over there. You know, is this a good place to be picking or scaling in to this trade long Bitcoin versus gold? What do you think happens over the next 5 months? What is gold up 3% on the year? Yeah. What's Bitcoin up on the year? I don't have the answer to those questions, but I know that Bitcoin's up significantly more since January the 1st than is gold. Just so I have an idea. Let's go ahead to the first. You know, Bitcoin up 93%, gold up 3%. What do you think happens as we're getting to the point in the markets where Bitcoin's about to do its thing? When I say do its thing, I mean, you have to visualize right now that we're on candle number one. Candle number one is the monster green candle, you know, and we've barely gotten started here. You know, we are going, in my opinion, significantly higher. Put it all together. Now's the time here as the parabolic move gets started. You're looking here at the halving chart that we look at. The first cycle, obviously, here in light green, second cycle in red, but you're looking at it on a percentage basis over here. It's a different view than we're normally looking at the halving tracker. You know, at the halving tracker, let me boom, let's just price adjust it. Now you're looking at percentage. Oh, boom. Percentage gain over here. And here we are right now, you know, and we're beginning the parabolic move. You know, what's the parabolic move this cycle going to resemble? Is it going to be more of last cycle where you have this move where, you know, these are big gains. If you don't have this here in scale for perspective, you know, 8,000, 9,000% gain, you know, and you're looking at this type of, this is really enormous. This is a parabolic move right over here to the blow off top. Does this cycle resemble more of this type of slope, right, as we come in towards the end and then have that big blow off top? Or is this cycle right here, right now, going to resemble more of this? Are we going to see a massive vertical move upwards during this parabolic move? You know, obviously so far, it's a combination of the two. we're kind of in between the two, and what that means and how that plays out, we're there to watch it. But if this were to start occurring, how many of you would be able to stay in the trade? Right? If we were to see at this point price start to really appreciate, putting in that big candle over here, and the price not stopping right now at 77,000, 82,000, but coming into $100,000, straight up resembling more of the first cycle than the second, how many of you are going to sell? How many of you sold at 80,000? What happens if Bitcoin's now 20% higher at 100,000, right? But wait, what happens all of a sudden if it breaks above 107 and starts going straight up? Are many of you going to get left behind? What's the risk that you have right now? As we begin the parabolic move, is it getting too cute, taking profits? Do you believe that you're going to be able to put in some better decisions, make better decisions by trading in and out of the most important trade that matters? Or do you think that the bull that bucks and gets everyone off, the risk might be to the upside over here? The risk might be to the upside. I don't think we're going to go straight up like we did on that in that first cycle or anything close to it. But if you were to, again, remove this first cycle from this chart and was just looking at in 1 year, a 3,000% gain, which unfolded in the 4 to 5 months, the majority of those gains unfold. You got to be careful and understand that situational awareness of where we are right now in cycle as things are about to change. This is the Bitcoin stock to flow. This is days until halving. So looking at the colors, right? Understanding where we are right now. When we see the top, we all know that we have about 150 more days. And 150 more days, we're going to be looking at this color turning light green, about to turn into yellow, right? That is just another situational awareness that we have. This is like, how could you not be so bullish, by the way, when you look at things like this? You have 10% of the supply hasn't moved in 10 years. Those are Satoshi's coins over there. 18% of the supply hasn't moved in 7 years. 35 in 3 years. 45% of the supply has not moved in 2 years. Oh my goodness. And 55% of the supply hasn't moved in 1 year. People right now holding on to Bitcoin. You could see in the last bull market over there, the same thing was occurring though, as people were holding. And then boom, smart money gets out, cycle peak. Smart money gets out, cycle peak. Is what we do, is who we are, and we're setting it all up over here. What else do we want to look at today? Let's see what's going on across the markets. The dollar, right? Boom. I'm watching that. Let me go ahead and just clean this up for myself for 1 second. This was our earlier analysis during this stream today. 692 likes. Thank you for helping support the channel and the work over here. And Greg, I was thinking about that. I don't know if it was last night or this morning, but remember, 160,000 was the original target put out. That was before the Fed went off into this uber easy monetary experiment. And it was 140,000 is mission accomplished. Make sure that you achieve and meet all your goals, which still stands today. But that doesn't mean, obviously, that you take profit at 140,000 if you expect price to be going, to 350,000 or whatever it might go. You follow price and you make sure that you are involved getting the gravy, getting the whipped cream with the sprinkles, with the hot fudge and salted caramel on top, because otherwise you're doing it wrong, right? Selling Bitcoin here at $55,000 midway through the cycle as we're about to get ready for super price appreciation stage here on the parabolic move. You got to do it right. So anyway, what did I want to get into? The dollar, FX. Starting here with the dollar, coming into resistance this morning, right? You can see after that big breakdown, this is just breakdown, retest right now, looking for this trend line to hold first. If this trend line holds and price is rejected, then we continue downwards, right? If we break outside this trend line, right, you have further resistance right above it, this upward sloping trend line coming in around 91.63. So we got a lot of work to do. A lot of all of a sudden technical damage needs to be repaired now in the DXY if this is able to go ahead and bounce out of here. And that's that. So let's take a look all across and see what else is going on in FX at this moment. Start here with the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. Just want to get a brief overview of what I see. So I see, right? Australian dollar, Japanese yen. I see price consolidating here in a very orderly manner right around the yearly high. I want to step back and look at this on the 3-day. You know, getting above that level, this leg up, there's a lot of room to the upside, a lot of room for extension over here. All right. So what else do we say? I just want to, this is the pattern that obviously I'm looking at, you know. You could see that yourself. It's clear as day. You're down towards the support right now. Is this a place to lean and buy, or you know, for what reason? Let me go ahead and just clear this up again. 200K would be 10. I think 200,000 is what we have a video with the price targets. Yeah, big shout out to Mexico. You know, big. We have a. Thank you, Danny. Thank you. All right, let's keep going. So looking to see right now, understanding the pattern that we're into, that we're down near some support. Is this a place that I'm kind of looking at here, right? Well, I don't know. Let's come back and let's look at the rest of the market, and then we'll figure out which of all the pairs that we look at are showing the most obvious signs of a potential price entry. And then we'll go ahead and we'll take it from there. This is just the first one. Let's take a look now. Australian dollar, US dollar. Zoom out a little bit. I mean, I see I'm into resistance, right? Came into that resistance, rejected. We're kind of sideways, you know. I like this. When I was looking at the Australian dollar, Japanese yen, I was looking at this, which I like, right? You have that resistance, and then you have the higher lows. Hopefully you get a break to the upside. I'm not seeing that. This is the Australian dollar, US dollar. And even with that like weak dollar, the Australian dollar is not really able to put on an attack here, right? So like not attractive, but Australian dollar, Japanese yen, more attractive. Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. Well, what about this? You know, zoom out, by the way. Great work, by the way. So when I say that, that's just if you've been following the channel for a couple of months. Where are we today? That's what I'm more concerned with on the 8-hour, right? Are we looking at this? Definitely looking like that. So I see like the Australian dollar, Japanese yen is down towards some support. Canadian dollar, Japanese yen also down towards some support. Okay, just keep starting by making observations until something becomes very clear. This is the the euro Australian dollar, right? We had this triangle. You could see the breakout, a retest, resumption off, and then came back in and tested the lower support of that triangle. It broke through the top. You could see even it tried to bounce off and never made a higher high here and came back in, and it's the lower support that held. That's interesting, right? And now resuming back off of it. So I think if you want to step back and play it safe, we were looking at the euro against other pairs before I got sick, and we were noticing how it was starting to strengthen relative to other pairs, right? What about now? I mean, getting above this resistance at that point, does that look like it's completed a reversal? It could be. I would continue to watch it. I think a lot of people, a lot of traders probably got faked out over here, but you could see this support held. The only other thing I want to say is often you see something like this, a triangle like this, they could break down and then sweep back up. And if it does, that's incredibly bullish. It's incredibly bullish. All right. So, and it's similar because instead of breaking down below it, it broke down into that lower support that time. Euro, Japanese yen. Let's look at the euro, British pound. All right. Step back out. So euro trying to strengthen versus the pound here after getting demolished all year long, right? Broke out, came into some resistance. I want to see where price was making the resistance. You know, I don't see it though, so I'm gonna keep going. I'm looking for something that's clear. I'm looking till I see something that I'm like, oh my gosh, this is it. But I'm making the observation here versus the Japanese yen that the euro here is consolidating sideways. I saw the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen consolidating in a downward slope like this. I saw the Australian dollar, Japanese yen consolidating like this. And I see here that the euro, Japanese yen is consolidating pretty sideways like that. showing relative the strength of the euro right now. So again, but does that look like something that I want to pounce on right now? I mean, not for me. Not for me. Well, let's take a look at the euro US dollar, right? Here was the break. What happened now? Price came up. You can look at the left where my mouse is. You can see that's a good level of resistance. Very, very clear. Let's go ahead and move this line up, right? And then what else is happening? Price is kind of trading very neatly. Oh, let's get rid of that. Price is trading very neatly along this over here. 828 likes. Romans 8:28. All things work towards good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. So euro US dollar, right? You can see that trend line is very helpful over there. As you're coming into it right now, you're coming into an area of support. Follow the mouse over. You can see that local horizontal support as well. Euro US dollar needs to hold over here. Otherwise, it looks like, as we saw in the DXY, notice this is the euro US dollar into that line of support. The DXY is into that line of resistance that we're tracking, both at an area where a big move could happen or a near-term trend change right now if they're able to hold or lose those levels. Price predictions on Cardano, yeah, it did go higher, just like Ethereum and altcoins right now. We are just getting to the parabolic stage here of Bitcoin, the rising tides that lifts all boats. It's a question of where you want to be focused in on and why, But this is alt season. This is the time for speculating, This is what's going on right now, and look at it happening on Dogecoin, But I mean, the thing about Dogecoin, there's a tweet over here is kind of interesting. I think this might be it right over here. No, it was from Sven. I think I lost. It was from Sven. Let me pull it up. Let me pull it up over here really quick, because it's really interesting. Well, it's not even important. It's not important, but just for fun. Yeah, we definitely pull up some HeadSnack. Pull up some HeadSnack. 1 second. Let's take a look at this on Sven's feed over here. He's talking about Dogecoin and Bitcoin and how no coiners say that Bitcoin is in a speculative bubble. And then he says how Bitcoiners say that Dogecoin is in a speculative bubble. I don't think Bitcoin's in a bubble. First of all, just here we go. This is a funny tweet over here. Non-Bitcoiners, Bitcoin is a speculative bubble. Bitcoiners, Dogecoin is a speculative bubble. Lumberjacks, hold my beer. As you've seen, lumber futures over here just explode to the upside. I mean, and it's funny and it's good and it's all true. But the whole thing is Bitcoin's not in a bubble. Bitcoin, in my opinion, is really cheap right here. Bitcoin trading, in my opinion, below the coming bear market low, or a really good chance right around it, but below it. And it's going to be in a bubble soon enough. And when I say it's going to be in a bubble over these next 5 months, it's going to be in a massive speculative bubble. Now, where other altcoins and where Dogecoin is during all of that bubble, right now, that I don't know. Once people realize the amount of inflation on Dogecoin, maybe they're going to, hey, maybe this is not where I want to put my money, right? But right now we're in that speculative phase and things could get crazy. And I don't care what project you think you're invested in. It's all speculative. And Bitcoin is proving technology, no question about that. You start seeing, you don't know where this comes from. What hedge fund, what VC put this article out and why, but they're like, why alluding to nothing? They're like, look, it seems like the Chinese who's reversing course on crypto. We saw the deputy of the Bank of China come out and say, yeah, Bitcoin, is a good alternative investment. We're not worried about Bitcoin. We're worried about Ant Financial, Jack Ma, and stable coins. By the way, Facebook is getting ready to launch their what's the name of their, it's no longer the Libra, it's the Diem or something like that. Some crazy diabolical stuff. But, either which way, they're getting ready to launch it. The U.S. is going to be, that's a competitor to the dollar. That's something, as we launch digital central bank currencies, they're going to be coming again. Not Bitcoin, right? Not Bitcoin at all. But when you start seeing that, like, oh, well, the China's getting interested in Ethereum. All how do you say, all nothing fact, all like, this could be happening. We don't know. They're really secretive. They don't really say anything, but it looks to me like China's really growing. And I mean, if that is to happen, of course, Ethereum to the moon and back, no question about it. But it's all speculation right now, and a lot of people are really getting caught up in it all. Diem, there it is. Let's go ahead and play some head snack and then run back into the flow. I'm gonna drop it right now. Conjecture. Thank you.
Conquer the markets, analyzing the charts, hitting projected targets within the margin. Find the flow, sip the matcha, and wait for the waves to come in with lobsters. The kind-hearted Jordan Fosters, working smarter, not harder to move the markers. On his way to conquer, trading and investing, drinking the coffee while reflecting on the blessing. The markets are not crashing, the prices might be slashing just to pretend they're in fashion. See the like button, comments, and smash it. Boom, boom, Jordan in the room, grab the bull by the horns and to the moon. Flow from the plateau, make the play. Boom, boom, it's a taco day.
Big. Lots of love and big shout out to HeadSnack. Let me go ahead and just put that link into the comments. If you could jump over there and smash the like button if you haven't already on the Conquering Trading and Investing theme song, definitely be grateful for that. Let's come back over here. Let's make sure we get a good look at the markets. Let's look at the pound US dollar, see what she's doing. Pound relatively strong compared to that weakening dollar over there, getting above that last bit of rejected at the resistance that was all through late February and into March. Once again, are we going to put in a lower swing low? Is this a place that you want to be looking to attack? The pound over here looking pretty good, pretty tasty versus the dollar, and we see that further breakdown. We should see it definitely showing. If we see that further breakdown in the dollar, right? The dollar to me looks like it's setting up this really big bear flag. Let's see where it breaks down over here, right? This is the bear flag that I'm looking at, that upward sloping support over there. You can see you have a line in the middle, and then if you clone it again over here, and that's what I'm seeing right now. If we break down out of here on the dollar, it could be a really big move. Pound might be a place to be looking to take advantage of that. What else? Let me look at the US dollar Mexican peso. Ooh, you can see this is, we were just talking about this just a little bit earlier. I was showing you the triangle and I said sometimes you get a breakdown and then a swift move up. Now that's not happening just yet, but it's really close right over here. You can see from the last time we looked at this, we had this triangle that was drawn in over here. Price breakdown, retest, resumption. And now bounced up off that support, but it's hitting the upper resistance, right? So if it breaks out above here, that could be a big move on the dollar versus the peso. But right now you see breakdown, retest, resumption, holding resistance and resuming off. It's this little bit of a swing low right over here. So the US dollar Mexican peso is in a very, let's say, important juncture here, where we should see a big move. We've seen a big move after the breakout of that trend line, a big and quick move. And since then, you've seen that big consolidation that has taken place. And now we're getting ready for price to move once again. What's the US dollar, Canadian dollar doing? And we're into that resistance, in that again, an important place over here. US dollar, Canadian dollar. So yeah, I expect right now the dollar to continue to move differently between the majors, whether or not it's the yen, the pound, the euro, then some of the I don't want to call the Mexican peso an exotic. It's not like the Turkish lira or anything like that, but I don't even have the terminology. Pound Japanese yen. Let me just continue checking it out over here. We looked at the other Japanese yen pairs all down near some support. And you can see the pound Japanese yen also towards an area of support, right? So look, we always look for support to hold until it doesn't. But all of these pairs, they're at they're at a level you can manage your risk off of. That's for sure, right? And if they break down, they all have a bit of room to go. Looking for them, nothing here even looks like, oh, I really want to green light it because I have to be involved in this. and I want to see what happens. All that we could do today is just make the observation that we see the dollar here at a pretty important level. If it breaks this trend line, we could see a nice move for the dollar in the dollar's favor, but it is into support. And the Japanese yen pairs all down, clear lines of support and that unity across all pairs. What else is there? Let me take a look. Definitely feeling better today. Again, thank you for all your support. Thank you for all your prayers. Those going on like a week and a half. So and again, we've made the case for all coins. This is Cardano consolidating sideways, looks very good. You could see again, Bitcoin also for 2 months has been sideways. Looking at Cardano, it's sideways. Bitcoin is the rising tide that lifts all boats. Just be aware as that tide goes out, when that tide comes, here's that peak we're looking at right now, the parabolic move. When this comes out and Bitcoin's going to fall, when it comes out and Bitcoin falls. I saw Michael Saylor in a discussion he was having yesterday, and he was very clear. He's like, listen, Bitcoin's going up, and why it's going up, it's going to go up and it's going to go down. And it seemed pretty clear to me that he understands the 4-year cycle and the way that we look at it. Now, that doesn't mean that Michael's going to, because of his situation, is going to, and the amount of Bitcoin he owns, and it's under a public company, that he's going to be trading around that event whatsoever. He doesn't need to. His time horizon is obviously probably a little bit different than yours if you're trying to go ahead and, what's the best way to put, I want to say do legendary things, do epic things, do, CTM things, to do smart, steady profit things, to view the 4-year cycle, the opportunity of the markets, to take a look at the markets overall, discern what you believe is the best place to invest your money, and then concentrate it really sharply in that one area. In order, people have seen, obviously, people who are doing it right have already seen in a short amount of time significant increases in their wealth. You got to be smart about it, though, and then that's really not much else to say. I'm not here to speculate in the altcoin markets. I am here to tell you, I told you well before anyone else. I told you over a year and a half when exactly alt season was going to start from my research and why. Sure enough, it did. I prepared you as it was happening. I told you before you even got into the position how long you should be holding and when you should be looking to sell, right? And in the CTM group, we've obviously narrowed it down a lot closer, looking at the massive tradable event as all coins will peak out this bull market phase, and when they do, to how to be a part of that move, which I think is much smarter than just like playing the roulette table, the whole bull market, making sure you're achieving what you need to achieve on the most important trade that matters, Bitcoin lightly leveraged. You don't need to trade Bitcoin leveraged to go ahead and do extraordinary things. I wish my brothers had taken the position I tried so hardly and earnestly to get into them, and I wish they did it without leverage. Either which way, Bitcoin is cheap today, $55,000, and that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get everyone focused on signal, the most important signal, right? Because as we enter this phase, this mania phase, you have no idea what's going to happen over the next 4 or 5 months, and it's going to just be so crazy, and everyone's going to think it's just so easy, and people are going to, make a lot of money. It's a question of having the awareness to be able to hold on to that money and not to take unnecessary risks, because as price continues to increase and people's contracts continue to increase, their trade size are drastically increasing, their aptitude for risk, all of a sudden it could get really messy. You always want to be the smartest guy in the room. And right now you're dealing with the markets, which attracts talent from all over the world, all over the world. You don't need to be a professional to speculate in the markets. You know, you could just download Robinhood and begin like buying on margin, not even knowing what it is, because they asked you like, do you understand what margin is? You know, and you see TikTokers and everyone else out there, and people like, you know, going all into Dogecoin right now, not understanding the inflation behind it, not understanding money. You got to be the smartest guy in the room, and you're talking about worldwide. That's what we're looking at over here. You are competing against hedge funds. You are competing against family offices. And if you look at what Bitcoiners have done, if you look at over the last 2 years, the amount of Bitcoin, you know, zero point 0.1 Bitcoin all the way up to 1 Bitcoin, you know, they were buying and accumulating in the last 2 years. It wasn't the bigger wallets, you know, 1,000 and above. They just started accumulating. You know, you have over here a situation where we, the people, have front run the institutions. You want to make sure that you continue to be on that right side of the trade. You want to make sure that you have that patience to be able to see things clearly. And you know, right now, again, we're telling you right now, as prices come off, there are people out there, and a lot of people calling the top of this bull market phase. Now, thankfully, you have enough people around you that are able to give you clear indications and signals so that you're able to see very clearly and with great confidence where you are. But not everyone else gets it. You know, the guy in the office who just sold this Tesla and bought Bitcoin and then it hasn't gone anywhere in 2 months. He's like, he doesn't understand Bitcoin. He's getting out of Bitcoin, you know, because he doesn't have any idea, you know. And most people, you know, who are buying and selling whatever they're buying, you know, probably gold and silver. I love the whole Wall Street bets, you know, awareness of silver. They're such small time players though that it's ridiculous. You know, I've been a silver and gold stacker, you know, for forever. You know, that's why I understand Bitcoin, because I understand money. But anyway, anyway, it's important to have these conversations. It's important right now as Bitcoin is just trading down and everyone got all shook about Bitcoin that we're like, wait, no, we're starting here right now, the parabolic move. The next 5 months is going to be absolutely crazy. And when we say melt your face off, rip your face move incoming, it's incoming. Let's see who's there to take advantage of it. But I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, now's the time. You know, go buy some Ave. You know, for what? You know, what? So anyway, just trying to keep. I'm trying to make sure that we change lives, and that's who we are, and that's what we do. Everyone, great session. Great session. Almost 1 hour. We covered a lot. We got into look at some other markets over there today. So yeah. So Gene, I listened to probably about an hour of the interview so far, and man, wow. I think I need to listen to it again a few more times. It's, you know, so I wasn't feeling well, obviously, but that takes some degree of focus to follow these guys' conversation. All I could say that it's a privilege to be able to sit down and listen to this conversation. You know, and the fact that we have the ability to listen to two people who are able to carry a conversation. It doesn't mean everything they say is right, or doesn't have to be right or wrong. It's just, you know, listening to what other people are talking about and then continuing, you know, to formulate your own opinions. It's a conversation I want to continue to listen to. I like the conversation with Preston and Greg Floss as well. And I was just listening to Matt Odell. You guys have heard me talk about Matt in the past. You know, let's see what he says about Dogecoin, by the way. Is a symptom of broken money. Individuals are pushed to gamble in rigged markets because their money loses value every day. Bitcoin has made that speculation. Yeah, this is really good stuff over here. All right, so listen. The Dodge pump is a symptom of broken money. Individuals are pushed to gamble in rigged markets because their money loses value every day, but Bitcoin has made that speculation optional. Since individuals now have access to money that increases in purchasing power over time. This is exactly what I was just talking about. You know, right now there's rampant speculation across all coin markets, but what are you doing and why? You have the option of Bitcoin, and that makes speculation optional. If you didn't have Bitcoin, then I could see you, you know, all interested in whatever coin. Anyway, good stuff over there. So what was I talking about, Matt? Though, Matt was having a with like 6 other people and Michael Saylor a conversation. It was good because it was the first time that I really I saw Michael, acknowledge very clearly the 4-year cycle and that price is coming down, even though he's not selling. I think a lot of people are very confused. One of the most confusing things I saw this cycle is the super cycle, and getting a lot of people are going to become super hodlers. That's for sure. So, what else? Yeah, Thomas. Big shout out Mexico, Thomas. There's nothing wrong with it whatsoever, or any altcoins. I listen. At the same time, I highly encourage you using CTM abilities in the altcoin markets. Highly encourage it. This is the bull market phase. This is alt season for sure, and there's nothing wrong with using proper risk management. There's no Absolutely, Thomas. I agree with you. But here's the thing, Thomas. You've also been here for the past, 14 months, each and every session. Your education is vastly greater and different than the vast majority than the traders across the whole internet, whether they consider themselves quote unquote professionals or not. You're way more advanced. So someone else, they could be watching or just being introduced to the community for the first time. What do? I mean, you got to get Bitcoin right here, 55,000. Bitcoin's cheap. We're just beginning, the big monster bull candle of 2021, which even though price is up so far 100%, hasn't even gotten started yet, as well as the culmination of the bull market phase over here. So Peter's asking whether or not, if we see a lot of super cycle believers become hodlers, does that lessen the potential percentage of the bear market drawdown? Well, I don't think so at all. I think we're going to see an 80-85% drawdown in the bear market. But here's what I do know is that I know that over the first 6 weeks we should see a 70% drawdown in the bear market. Now, when we see that 70% drawdown, and then price is going to, bounce up significantly from that 70% drawdown. And at that point, a lot of people are going to be thinking that's the max pain right there. When I say 70%, whatever, 65%, 70% in that neighborhood, but people at that, or if we only went down 60%, that's going to go further than 60%. If people said that, then they're going to be like, that's going to be the bear market low. The institutions are here, and it's just, but that's not. You're going to see eventually months later, that level taken out. It's going to be a capitulation, and that's going to be the bear market low. But we're so there. We already know when it's time to focus in on, right now we're focusing in on the exit of the cycle peak. When it's time for us during the bear market to be hyper focused on the moves that occur during the bear market, there's no one that does it better. There's no one that does it better than CTM. CTM all day long. Ian's asking, will the size of the blow off top be an indication of the drawdown? No, when you talk about the top, I think we can look at these two charts over here, right? Because we're going to see the first cycle top. You have what is at first like a 50%, 45, 50% drawdown, and then that spike up. That's on the Wall Street cheat sheet right over there, right? This is like Bitcoin went from 19,500 down to 10,000 and then was at $17,000 a couple of days later. And people are like, okay. Whew, that was close. But that's it. That's your last chance. If you missed my exit, to get out, and make sure you get that right, and you're not trying to like, oh well, price was traded or price already traded to 300,000, so I'm not getting out at 270,000, because that greed right there is going to cost you. That's a fatal mistake right there. That's a mortal blow. Most will get it wrong. It's so difficult. It's so incredibly difficult to get right that you see why I've spent so much time preparing on it for so long, right? So then anyway. Then you get this is in the short amount of time over here, the 70% drawdown from the top, 6 weeks roughly. And then all of a sudden you get that big bounce over there. People are like, that's the bear market low. you know, we're never taking it out until we do. Same thing over here. You have that 50% drawdown, 50% drawdown. Where we've got 50% drawdown over here. Price bounces. You know, again, only 50% of the way. There are people out there. I heard Willie Woo say that it's 80%. That's not correct. And if you're looking for an 80% bounce off there, you're never going to get the exit. You got to be careful. Experts only. And then you have within that 6 weeks a 70% drawdown from the top. I think that's exactly what happens. So I think that right away, if the top's at the end of September, by November, we should have already seen a 70% drawdown. And then we're going to say, you know, well, everything continues to play out exactly as we foresaw it. So what do I think that when all these other people who told me there was going to be a super cycle and there's not are now telling me that the drawdown in the bear market's going to be less? No, I'm not going to consult them. I'm going to, consult those who have a history of doing it right and being on the right side. Period. You know, I'm not going to go back to Sven, who's like, oh, there's a lot of liquidity in the markets now. Yes, Sven, well, we told you that a year and a half ago that you have to follow the liquidity and you can't sell this stuff and you got to go up, you know? So again, that's where we are. All right. Is Pax Gold the same as XAU BTC? Yeah. It is. Pax Gold is a play on gold. It's a digital play on gold. But that's a good question to be asking. Definitely before making any decisions, make sure that you are informed. Let's play some honeymoon vocals. Thank you, Stefano. And thank you to the moderators doing the extraordinary, exceptional work each and every day. We are big wave surfers, team. And nobody does it better. And everyone else is fooling around. I made a lot of mistakes. Did you get the most important thing that matters? Well, you got to get right. You got to get right. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, everyone, for being here today and participating in this moment in time that we are together. Thank you, Alan. Thank you so much. You are all the best. That's right. We got big wave surfers right over here. Yes, Daniel, I'm so grateful for that. Thank you so much. I am so grateful for that. Finally, good morning. And right, I mean, how important, how beautiful is to show you, right? Be there. To struggle through when it's hardest. That's when it counts the most. Look what we did last week. You know, people are worried about the exit, whether or not I'm going to be there for you. Come on, you know, you should know. This is the goal, Greg. Life goals, right? CTM goals. CTM goals. Wes, Matt, everyone, Boomer, Dave, thank you so much. Bitcoin doesn't care about the Nasdaq right now. TJM, great to see you, my brother. Thank you so much for this session, everyone, today. Mark, we're gold nugget holders and yeah. Wes, 1 year conquering the markets. Thank you for making it especially a special, Wes. Thank you for adding everything that you do. Thank you, Heath. Thank you so much, my brother. Finally, feeling a little bit better, a little stronger today. And let's continue to build off that. Everyone, have a beautiful day. Thanks for spending this time together. I'll talk to you soon.